This video continues from how to make an Spirograph part 1. I recommend watching that video before watching this one. First, a few more theories on making it. The first theory would be, how many orbits will it take for the pen hole to return to the original point? Here's the original point. I'm going to use the disk size of 3/5 as an example. This would be 3 and this would be 5. Remember that from the center here to the end here would be, the radius is 1. To find out how many orbits it will do around the center, we're going to use the LCM. We can't use just any number. We have to simplify them first. Like here, it's 3/5. You can't simplify it any further. You could use 3/5, but you cannot use 6/10. For the LCM of 3/5 would just be 3 multiplied by 5, which is equal to 15. This works, but this 6 multiplied by 10 equals 60 does not work. So the number of orbits this disk will do around the center is equal to 15, which is the LCM of 3 and 5, also 3 multiplied by 5, divided by 5, which is equal to 3. And 3 is also the numerator in 3/5. And for the number of disk rotations that this inner disk will be going around, is equal to 15/3, which is equal to 5. And 5 is the denominator. Another theory is on how many petals will be created. First, what is a petal? A petal is a turning point, as you can see. Every time the disk rotates, it makes one turning point. Every time it orbits around, it makes a turning point. So, it orbits around 3 times, and it rotates 5 times. So the total number of turning points would be 3 plus 5, the numerator plus the denominator, which is equal to 8 in this case. So if you counted them, you can see that this is correct, and there are 8 turning points, or 8 petals. So here we are on the Excel spreadsheet. I'm going to be using the version where the disk is inside the main gear, so it would be rotating in the opposite direction as it is orbiting. So our zoom will be at 100%, and we have our disk size and the hole position. We know how many rounds it will do, which is the numerator, and we know the number of petals that it has, which is the numerator plus the denominator. Now I'm going to move on to where the disk center radius is, which is the distance from the origin to the center of the disk. We know that from the origin to the radius of the disk will be 1, so from here to here would be 1 minus the disk size, and you'll have this. And because our zoom is 1, it remains the same. Now we're going to the radius to the hole. The hole radius would be the disk center radius multiplied by the position of the hole, which is 80%. It would be 80% of this one. This image consists of 1,200 nodes, or points. We do not need to draw lines between the nodes, as Excel can do it for us. These numbers are the intervals between each node. Because we know we're going to do 3 rounds, and the angle in radians around the whole thing is 2 pi, so it would be 2 pi multiplied by 3, or 6 pi radians. And because we need to split that out for 1,200 nodes, we divide it by 1,200. So you get this number. This number comes from the speed of orbitals, speed of rotations that it does. Because the disk is smaller than the main gear, it has to go faster. So it's around that number divided by the disk size. I will not show you this part as my dad coded it for the animations, and maybe if he has time, he could show it to you. In the previous video, I showed you that there were two vectors, one from the origin to the center of the disk, and one from the center of the disk to the hole where the pen will be. These columns calculate the first vector, and these columns calculate the second vector plus the first vector. This is the initial angle for this point. You can set it as anything you like, but I like to keep it at 0 because it's more simple. This number comes from this plus the interval. And then the third one would just be this plus the interval again. The position of the disk uses x and y. The x is equal to the disk center radius, shown here, multiplied by the sine of the disk angle in radians. The y is the same, but using cosine instead. Second vector. Very similar to the other one. You can choose whatever angle you want. The next one is equal to the one before it plus the interval, but not the same interval. It uses the whole interval, which is faster. And the third one would just be this one plus the interval. The x and y, this x is equal to this plus the one from the second vector. It uses the whole radius multiplied by the sine of this angle plus this position multiplied by the zoom. It is very similar for the position in y, but instead of using sine, it uses cosine, and instead of adding it to the x, it adds it to the other y. Just copy this down and this down, and you can see that now they've made a connection. Now I'm going to just select all and maybe copy it a little bit more. You can see that it's beginning to draw. Maybe some more. It's drawn more. And now I'm just going to do the stretch to 1208. And you can see that it's finished drawing. You may have noticed that I'm using this number for the zoom. And if I changed it to another number, maybe 120%, it would get bigger. But I want the size of the image to get right at the edges of the graph. So first, we need to find out how big it will be. How do I know the size of the image is 88%? The size of the image comes from the distance between the origin and the furthest point that the penhole can be without extending it. You could use it in two vectors. One vector from the origin to here, which would be 1 minus the disk size, 0.4 or 40%. And from here to here, which is 80% of this distance, which is 48%. And add those together and you get 88%. Now, if I want the image to be 100% all the time, I could change this number, make it 1 over this, so that it fills up the graph. Instead of having to change this number, I created a list so you can change between changing the size of the image and different zooms. So if you go to the different zooms, you get the 100% thing again. If you change it to image mode, it will automatically zoom to 114%. You can also just continue changing, maybe make it 60%, you'll have this, or just keep it at 100% so it takes up its space. I will not be telling you how to make these buttons. You need to learn Visual Basic, or VBA. I'm not going to be talking about them in today's video. I'm going to wrap up the video for now. I hope you enjoyed. Goodbye!